The Indie Insider is a brand new series I've just started on the channel, where I will be reviewing indie games which have been uploaded to itch.io. Now, these indie games may not be the most popular, they may be just uploaded just onto itch.io, but I will be reviewing them. When I will be reviewing the games, there will be a rating system out of 100. Now, the 100 dev points, I'm going to be calling it, will be split up into different categories such as the art style, the animation, music, sound effects, level design, UI, pacing/fun, story and universe, controls, performance, and if the game has entered a game jam, then you will also receive an additional 10 points depending on if your game fits the category of the jam. As this first episode is called a volume, it's going to include 3 games. There's going to be multiple volumes in the next coming weeks, and I'm also working on other different types of videos. So if you'd like to see more, then please hit the subscribe button and get notified when we upload. Without further ado, let's begin with this series. The first game I will be reviewing is a game known as Blox. This game was entered for a game jam. To start with, I'm going to be talking about the art of the game. The models are very simple and uses basic cubes and circular shapes to form the basis of most of the models used within the game. But although I make this out like it's a bad thing, it's actually the complete opposite. With the game feeling like a bullet hell shooter, it's nice to see the contrast between the character, the background and the threats, and it's very easy to see where your character is, and for that reason I'm going to give the game's art a 7. The animation within the game is very limited to only the character and the enemy's movements. That is all the game needs animation wise. There is no need for a full scale animation because this is clearly not the game for it. The animation feature in the game was smooth, and for that I'm going to give the animation a 6. The music inside the game kind of makes it feel like a high-tech sci-fi retro game. After looking at the jam's theme, I realised this song was perfect for the game as it uses a very nostalgic feel to it. I also like the song, and it also has a really nice ring to it, and it makes the game also feel much more enjoyable. For that I will be giving music 7. The sound effects used within the game are almost perfect. I love every single sound effect used, and I believe it feels right being inside the game. There's not much more I can say, so for that I'm giving sound effects a 7. The levels are quite straightforward. You travel through the level, and I will be honest, I did not like the texture used for the floor in most of the areas. I felt like the level structure was a little bit rushed, and I did get stuck on a certain part because I didn't understand you had to shoot the buttons on the wall to also destroy the wall enemies. I also fell down bottomless pits a few times, as I did not notice they were there. It would have been nice to incorporate some of the abilities to some of the level design, such as dashing to destroy a certain type of enemy or even use the force field to cross over a laser path. So for that I'm going to give level design a 5. The user interface did confuse me to begin with. There were so many buttons on the screen I did not realise what they really meant. But when I finally realised, I fully understood how many lives I had left, how much force field I had left in the charge, how much health I had. The UI for the menu was also very basic, and I felt like it didn't fit the atmosphere of the game. For UI, I'm going to give it a 5. This game started out just like any bullet hell shooter, but it wasn't until I discovered the dash. I love the dash. I found myself making enemies fly all over the screen. I tried to dash into every enemy I saw because I thought it was just funny. The pacing of the game also felt fun, as you face different types of enemies with loads of different boss fights. So for that, I'm going to give pacing and fun an 8. When playing this game, the description says you take control of a programmed threat to test a new security system. But the problem is, with this description, I wouldn't have known much about the game whilst playing it. And even when I was writing about this game, I kept forgetting about where the actual setting was about this game. I kept thinking it was a space game. So for that, I'm going to give Story and Universe a 5. A game which has a very easy to learn control scheme. It would have been nice to have been told the controls at the start of the game, as there was a few times I forgot to use abilities such as the force field and the dash. But other than that, I found myself having fun with the controls, and picking them up was very easy. So for that, I'm going to give controls an 8. The game ran really well on my PC. I also enjoyed how the game ran at a constantly high frame rate with no glitches or any hitches to be seen. Even the boss battles where there is huge amounts of particles on the screen at once, I still had no problems. So for that, I'm going to give performance a 10. Okay, let's not forget this game was entered for a game jam. Now, if I was going to be completely honest, this game is actually really fun, and the developer knew exactly what he was doing. This is a really good jam game. Now, I'm going to give this a 7 extra points with the jam bonus score. So with my review on Blox over and finished with, I thought I'd give its overall verdict. Now, the game out of 100 is a 75. Now that is good, and I love this game. I sat there for a good 12 minutes trying to last as long as I can. This game is fun, and I hope the developer sticks with this game concepts and expands on it. But for a jam game, this is brilliant. I recommend you should check it out, the link will be down below. Now, we're going to be reviewing the next game on our list, Tanks. Tanks is a really cool looking game, and straight away after loading it up, I actually instantly thought that I was going to really enjoy this game. Now, let's get into the art. The art style of this game looks really interesting to me. I love how the game is played on a black background with the enemy and the player tanks so easy to see. But the one thing I did not like about the art was the background with the flowers. I understand that sometimes the littlest details in the game makes it more intriguing, but I felt like the design of the flowers did not really work in the game. That's just my personal opinion. So for the art, I'm going to give it an 8. Animation in this game is very interesting, although it's literally just tanks moving around the screen, but it's got a nice, smooth, fluid animation. I love the subtle animations when blowing enemies up, and I think it adds to the game. So I'm going to give animation a 7. The music randomizes each time you play the game, which is not a bad move. I find that the more you restart a game and the audio gets tedious, it can get irritating. But this developer smashes this problem by adding loads of different chiptune songs whilst you play. Now this is a good design choice and makes the game more fun to play. It also makes it more replayable. For that, I'm going to give music a 9. The sound effects within the game resemble an old 90s style sound, which is fitting inside the game, and it also works well with the chiptune songs playing in the background. So for this, I'm going to give sound effects a 8. I find the wave style in this game very fun and rewarding to play. I did attempt to escape the level when I first played this game to see what would happen, only to find that if you travel too far you lose some health and you get teleported right back to the start. It is nice to have a large area to roam around in. If I could say any improvements, it might have to be maybe more levels, as this one might get just a little bit too boring too quickly. So for level design, I'm going to give it an 8. The user interface within this game is near perfect. As soon as I loaded up the game, I was straight away excited to play it. Inside the game, the UI looks amazing. The only reason I have not rewarded this game a 10 in UI is because when you start the level, the UI actually blends a little bit with the portal and with the background flowers. It made it look a little bit weird to me. So for that, I'm going to give UI a 9. It's still a really good design. I found this game to be very fun, although very hard to start with. I constantly found myself dying, but this game grew on me, and it kind of follows the trial and error formula, where I soon found myself building a strategy to complete the level. After surviving the first wave, this is where the game really got me hooked. You can upgrade your tank, add turrets to the game, and basically just do upgrades to defend the portal. I accidentally pressed the back button thinking I placed a turret and started the next round without any defences or upgrades. I'm gonna give fun and pacing an 8. This game was really fun to play, but the only thing I didn't really enjoy was the lack of the story. Why was the tanks there? What was the portal to do with anything? Why do I need to protect it? This is something that made me not really enjoy the game as much. I did check the description to see if there was any story elements or anything like that, but there was nothing. So for that, I'm going to give story a 4. The game has a very nice control scheme. The buttons are very easy to learn, the abilities are also a bonus, and they add a little bit extra to the gameplay. So the controls, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Performance was not a problem on my PC, the game ran exceptionally well. No technical hitches or glitches, so performance is going to get a solid 10. This is one of the games that was not entered for a jam on my list, so for this, the bonus points will not be included. And now we're going to go to the verdict. The game is amazing, and I can't wait to see what the developer does with the game. If there's any more updates to come, if there's anything like that. The game is fun, I love the UI, I love the background, I love the pacing, I love literally everything about this game. I think it's fun, I think it's innovative, and I would love for you guys to check it out. If you guys want to check it out, the link will be down below in the description. I'm rating this game 79 out of 100. Now we're on to our final game. This game, Snappy, instantly caught my eye. The main menu, stunning. The gameplay, stunning. Let's get straight into the review and talk about the art. The art of this game is truly flawless. I love how each level looks amazing and uses contrasting colours within its level. It makes the game feel so much fun to play and brings excitement to what the next level will look like. And for those who don't know, this game actually inspired the thumbnail of this video. For that reason alone, the art is getting a solid 10. The animation is very limited within this game. The ball is animated, certain platforms are animated, but the best animation comes from the start of the game when you're introduced to the developer of the game. When I first played this game, I was instantly excited to see what happens next. So for that, the animation gets a 9 out of 10. The music is perfect in this game. As soon as I loaded up the main menu and was ready to play the game, I heard the music explode and I was just instantly ready to play the game and have fun. The music flows throughout the game and it is just a work of art. It certainly fits the theming of the game and therefore music gets a 10. Although this game doesn't need sound effects because of the music, the sound effects on the main menu do sound pretty interesting. When you select an option, the game makes a sound effect, which is actually quite pleasant and relaxing, just like the tone of the music. So for that, I'm giving sound effects a 7. The level design within the game is beautiful. I love the varieties of different levels inside the game, including a night vision style map. The only downfall I had was one of the levels got confusing due to the placement of the platforms, and there was a small bug which caused the ball to keep no clipping through the platform. Other than that, the game design is stunning. You got to bear in mind this game is still in alpha as of recording this review. And for that I'm giving level design a 9 out of 10. The simplicity of the UI design on the main menu makes the game really exciting to play. There is no UI inside the game itself, but in this game you do not need a user interface inside the level. But if there had to be a UI inside the game, it would be cool to do a timer behind the actual platforms in a creative style for the game. So for that I'm going to give the UI a 7 out of 10. The best thing about this game is it's a puzzle game, where you control the ball. If you mess up, that's your own fault. The game lets you take control of its own pace. You can go as fast as you want, or you can go as slow as you want. It really does depend on you. Reaching the goal and seeing what is held in the next area can also be a lot of fun to discover. So for that I'm giving fun and pacing a 9 out of 10. This game has no story and doesn't require a story. You pass different levels within the game world as it progressively gets harder. The point of the game is to not give up and try and beat the game. So for that I'm giving story and universe an 8 out of 10. The controls work a treat, but the one thing I noticed was because the game world was set at an angle, the ball rolls in a certain way. It would roll in a direction of the platforms and not in the direction of the keypad, making the game a little bit harder to master. But other than that, it was quite easy to control. So for that, I'm giving controls a 9 out of 10. Performance. There was no performance problems when playing this game. It stays consistent throughout the game. So for that, I'm giving the game a 10 out of 10. As this game is not a part of a game jam, the game gets 0 bonus points, but that doesn't mean the game is bad. Now we're going to talk about the verdict of the game. The game is amazing. I love the art style, I love the different varieties of levels, and I think the game is overall a lot of fun to play. If you want to play a game, I recommend you check this out. The link will be down below, and I'm also saying that this game has got potential. This game is rated 88 out of 100, and this game will also receive the GOTV, which is the Game of the Video. Thank you so much for watching the first ever Indie Insider Volume 1. Now, Volume 2 will be coming very soon, but before we show Volume 2, I have a little clip I would like you to see right at the end of this video. Are you excited? It's coming very soon. I can't wait to reveal more. Don't forget to rate, comment and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching guys, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.